In the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line. I've been on the right trip, but I must have used the wrong car. Head is in a bad place, and I wonder what's good for. I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. My head is in a bad place, but I'm having such a good time. I've been running, trying to hung up in my mind.
Hi, welcome back to the Blown Away YouTube channel. So last time we were anchored in the lagoon at San Carlos de Rapita. Really nice anchorage, pretty little place. The beach is actually quite sandy, quite shallow, great for the dog. Plenty of wildlife around, lots of seagulls and stuff nesting, and the scenery is pretty cool. We did have some bad weather, so we did set out some fairly rough storms. I think we had like 30-35 knots of breeze. Fairly heavy rain, which isn't great on this boat because it leaks like a sieve, so we got lots of leaks and things that we're looking at. We had a couple of issues with the anchor. We had a float down and the keel tripped the float, which I've never had before. In the good weather, we did get some maintenance done, so electrical stuff, and we got some sewing done, and dinghy cover got modified, and we had a problem in the chain locker that needed sorting out, so the bilge monkey went into there. And then we came into the marina, and the marina was quite good because it's MDL. It has a swimming pool, it has laundry, and this is the yard we're going to come out in because it's a nice concrete yard, and it's easy to get stuff done. So Nat, how's your new home?
This isn't for me, this is for Nelson.
Yeah, you fell for that.
So this is Ian in his orange jumpsuit. Ta-da!
Guantanamo Bay. I've been waterboarded. The Americans have been waterboarding me. I confess.
What are you up to, Ian? Ian's been making a mess down below already. He's been opening up tool storage, etc. Digging out paints and cutting discs and etc, etc. Which meant that all of my belongings are now on that couch. But what are you doing this morning?
This morning I'm going to burn through about 50 cutting discs.
Cool.
Taking the top off of the boat.
Very good.
Started last night. I've already taken the hydrovane off.
Yeah.
I've already started taking some of the steelwork off.
Yeah.
I've discovered that the cutting discs that I bought in Mallorca were the wrong size. Fortunately, I've got 2 boxes of the right size in storage.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's my job today. Hence the blue poly sheet. Nobody likes a steel boat. All that rust and shit going everywhere. They hate me.
Yeah.
Steady hands, slow hands.
So here's Ian's tarp to try and keep some of the grinding bits off the other boats.
I need to protect the neighbours, and only it's the right thing to do. It's just a complete ball ache for me because I have to work in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
Fortunately it's windy today.
But a breezy greenhouse. Is this part of the boat that he's chopping off, the top couple of inches there? So he's going to be grinding the steel all the way along the side of the boat, Just use some dive weights to weigh it down with. And yeah, he's gonna move that along as he goes.
It goes this, it's easy. This way is easy.
Okay, so while the boys were trying to feed the plumbing hoses through earlier from the head to the engine room bilge, unfortunately one of them got stuck. So it then involved us taking up the floorboard to have a look and see where it was stuck. A bit of a mission to try and do that, but as we've done it, we've now decided to chip and paint the bilge in here as well. Okay, so tow rail is off on the starboard side. Port side's ready to go. So that is the tow rail. Starboard side, all off. This dog, good morning.
Day 2 of the yard stay. Boats are bottom side. We got a fair bit done yesterday.
We did get a fair bit done.
Yeah.
We had 35 knot gusts all night, and the boat felt like it should have been in the water rather than on the hard. It felt several occasions like it was going to fall over.
Yeah, the mast starts to pant after about 35 knots, so we're definitely getting gusts into 35s.
And luckily when Ian went down to check, the dog was still there.
The dog hadn't blown away. Fortunately, I tied him up.
What else?
Well, we did a load of chipping and painting in the lower saloon, so that now will get a repair. There's one little plate needs to be repaired down there that I managed to bang a hole through. And today, because of the wind, we can't put any sheets out. I need to protect the other boats around here from metal flakes, so if I do any grinding I need to make sure that the metal flakes don't go over somebody else's boat, which is only right, especially with some of the stuff here. It's probably a couple of million. And then I can do some sanding. Apparently there's no need to use a hoover, so I will be out there doing sanding. I'm going to sand the hull down today. Hopefully the welder turns up today, although with the wind I very much doubt it. I think it'll be someplace else inside. We'll start on the anti-fouling stuff, clean up the anti-foul, get ready to put a lick of paint on it, get all the prep done, and then chase the welders. They haven't started on the water maker as yet, even though we asked them to. No one's turned up to do that. The guy's been here to do the bilge pumps. That was supposedly fixed, and then we went back out in the lagoon and one pump didn't work and the other pump stuck on, so we're chasing him up about that. He's been back, had a look at it. What's he turned up today? Some float switch.
Yeah, he's ordered a float switch.
He's ordered another float switch. I don't think that's the problem, but he's ordered another float switch, so put a new float switch in. That never good. Hopefully that'll be okay. What else we got going on?
What else have we got going on?
I've got most of the tow rail cut off down one side, but I've stopped because of the wind. Yeah, we're making progress. But yeah, the anchors have both been dropped, and we had a good shopping trip yesterday. We went into the Fisherman's Cooperative. So if anyone ever comes to San Carlos, not far from San Carlos de Rapita, MDL's marina, there is a Fisherman's Cooperative, which is pretty damn cheap. Managed to buy a 9-inch angle grinder, which is a DeWalt model. Yep, DeWalt. On eBay I looked, they're about £170 plus delivery of about 20 something pounds because of the weight, and we picked that up for €120. So absolute bargain as far as I'm concerned. So we now own a 9-inch angle grinder. You can never have enough toys. I get confused. So yeah, we got another toy for the cupboard.
So while we were taking the tow rail off, the very last bit, what happened, Ian?
Well, I said to you, hang on to this cable, Nat, because this cable's a bit wild, and obviously you didn't hold it strong enough.
He didn't say anything of the sort.
The end result was that the cable got dragged into the machine. So while I was cutting the tow rail off, I moved position, and as I moved position, the cable of the new €120 9-inch grinder, the cable got dragged into the cutting disc. There was a small flash. I always use a trip. I always have an RCD breaker in the circuit, which was good news. The RCD just went off.
Good.
And the power went off, and I'm now repairing the cable to the machine.
Good.
Thanks for interviewing me on that subject. What you doing, Nat?
As recorded yesterday, we found a small hole up forward in the bilge. So the welders came in and they patched it. So now I'm just painting the bilge so that hopefully it doesn't happen again too soon.
Fantastic. What colour are you doing?
I went for a nice silver.
Nice silver colour. That's
Make
good.
it a bit brighter.
Like a metallic silver.
Yeah.
Nice, I like.
And we've got some of that left over, so it made sense.
Good.
I'm not doing a water tank at the moment,
No.
which is why I still have a get out, even though I've almost painted my feet into the bilge.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Doing a fine job.
Hey, honey.
Oh my god, there's an alien in the bilge.
Oh.
Now you broke it.
Oh, no.
So while I've been grinding outside, Nat's been inside doing some painting. Excuse me, just getting a coffee. And I've come up here to find her asleep in the bilge, and she's put her head in the paint. Look.
I didn't put my head in the paint. I think I got some on my eye.
That's not just some on your eye, is it? Huh? What have you done?
I had a different fan on and it kept blowing the hair into my face and into the paint, so I must have gone like that to get it out. I think it's quite a cool look.
Yeah, it's nice.
They're like Kiss or something.
Yeah.
Like an 80s pop band.
Very, yeah, very good. I like it.
I think someone's been out in the sun working too hard. Okay, so final coat has gone down on the bilge on the starboard side in the lower saloon. Just waiting for that to dry. Once that's done, Geordie, the electrician, can come back and wire in the shower pump and the forward bilge pump. We've just replaced the new fan. That one died on us, so we now have a new fan. As you can hear, Ian is still grinding outside. He's got the entire starboard side tow rail off the boat. That's completely gone, and is now, that tow rail is down below and is, he's separated all the wood from the metal. So the aft section is cut and ready to go, and he's almost finished the port side. He's up on the bow just finishing the port side of cutting the actual tow rail off, and then obviously we'll segment it and take it down below like we did with the other ones.
So what I did, I cut the entire length of the angle iron under the wooden tow rail to replace it. I did it 6 years ago in Plymouth before I left the UK, and bought the materials from a reputable company, and they're shoddy, to put it blunt. It was all welded together in the rain, and the metal just went rusty within 6 years, and it's horrible. So I'm replacing it with stainless steel. So here we are, just cutting it all off again. And yeah, cut it into sections, lower it down. It's too heavy to do with one piece. There's about 4, maybe 5 sections, I think, in total per side, plus obviously the aft section. So this is us just cutting off the last piece of it, and then putting it on a piece of line and just lowering it down onto the deck. So here you can see the 2 contractors that came out to help me. I can weld. I'm pretty competent at welding. The problem I have is the amount of work and the length of time that this is going to take if I do everything on my own. So I sold my motorcycle, and that went back to the UK, as you saw in the previous episode, and the money from the bike was actually being spent on this work to the boat. So I didn't mind coughing up the cash to get some contractors in, providing they were going to do the work and do it to a good standard, which it was okay. It was no problems. So it took me 2 days to cut it off. I think it took us 4 days to weld the whole lot back on again. But the welding it on is only a small part of the process, to be fair. To get the curve into it, we have to tack it, bend it, tack it, bend it, tack it, bend it, so on and so forth. And once it's all in shape, you can then run a weld up the entire length of it. We welded the outside, we didn't weld the inside because I didn't want to burn the decks. And we then epoxied the inside and epoxied the outside, and it's also had, I think, 4 coats of 2-pack white enamel paint, which goes off like rock. It's the same stuff that's on the coach roof. So yeah, no, it looks pretty good. I'm pleased with it.
New tow rail fully attached. So there's the tow rail boards, the wood on top of the tow rail. I'm just taking the paint off, ready for reattaching after the welding is finished.
How dirty would a 40-year-old water tank be? So the water tank has been there for 40 years. Remember, this boat was finished 1978.
Same age as me.
February, launched into the water. Okay, so this tank has been full of water for 40 years.
But it has had an extra hole for aeration.
So let's take a look inside. Look how How freaking clean that is in there.
What are you up to, Ian?
Fixing a damn boat.
Cool. Which bit?
That bit.
That bit. And why does it need fixing?
Because the water tank leaked when it was filled up.
There's that bit there.
There was a lot of corrosion in there. Basically, when the boat was built, the tank is part of the boat.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the flare of the hull right there.
Yeah.
This is a compartment. There's another water tank behind it. The two are
Just
connected.
here.
Yep. Two are connected. There's an inspection plate here. And beyond the inspection plate, there must have been a dip in the metal. And at some point, there's been a water leak because there's a hose that was running along the top of that, across there. And it sat there for 40 years, leaking away quite merrily.
Yeah.
So whenever you filled the water tank up, if you filled it to the brim, instead of it coming out of the overflow pipe, it will come into the forward bilge.
Cool.
So, as anyone would imagine, you'd probably think it's just a pipe leaking, or there's a minor insignificant problem that's going to take 10 minutes to fix, right?
Yeah.
No, because it's my boat.
Cool.
And anything to do with my boat is complicated.
I think though it's anything to do with any boat rather than your boat.
Specifically this boat. So instead of it being a quick fix, take the pipe off, put a new pipe on, and let's go sailing and stuff, it's turned into another epic repair
Of great magnitude.
of great magnitude. So I've bought up every cutting disc, grinding disc, and flapper disc in the whole town.
Cool.
There are none left. We've ordered some from Madrid, Barcelona, and Zaragoza. They're all sending down their metal supplies to us.
He's talking crap. Carry on.
And then, well, I did this side, so this side's already done. This is already, I chipped and painted this.
He chipped it, I primed it, I painted it, I top coated it.
Which is good because I've chipped that, which means you'll be painting this because you know how to do it. Fell into that one. You also need to go into the water tank to go and get my ruler back, because my plastic folding ruler that I love and I've had for donkey's years is in there. It fell out of my top pocket when I bent over.
Yeah, and
So-
it's right at the very bottom.
Well, it would be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be at the top, would it?
You could have stuck on the bit on the flare or something. Okay, I'll get your ruler back. So yeah, we've put sheets up like this to try and protect some stuff from some dust. Ian's taking good fire precautions over here. That's every fire extinguisher on the boat pretty much.
Pretty much.
And yeah, all just to fix a little leak in the water tank.
5-minute job.
So our friend David, the welder, is coming back after lunch. He's preparing a plate in the workshop, and then he's going to come back after lunch.
So to all our Patreons, of which there are none because we don't actually have Patreon pages yet, but we are going to do that at some point, right? Because obviously we need money to fix the freaking boat. So our first Patreon, I'm going to send you a piece of the boat. So Nat, how do you feel about living on board a boat? Hooray! My ruler's back! A little bit slow, but I actually said living on board. I didn't say live aboard. It's closer. So Nat's in the water tank, has retrieved my ruler, my beloved ruler. That will now be placed back into my pocket and the zip done up. And we're currently flushing the tank to get rid of all the crap that's gone into it while we've been cutting it. So we've got a salvage pump. Yeah, salvage pump, which is the blue hose, pumping the water out, and a black and orange hose, which is our water pipe, putting water in. And we're also bleaching and just generally cleaning the side of the tank.
Generally stop everything for me so I can clean it and then start it again.
Well, I've got to get that water circulating, or else I'm not going to get all the metal bits out.
Okay.
So if you do the top bit, then when you get to the bottom, we'll stop for a little while. So Nat, tell me a little bit about your new life.
Not quite as it was advertised.
palm trees, white sand beaches,
Yeah.
bikinis.
Yeah. I was told all I'd need was bikinis. So far I've gone
Well, in
for...
fairness, you could wear a bikini down there. Do you want me to fetch you one?
No, thank you.
So basically it's like a month of hard work and then 11 months of bikinis.
Perfect.
So the mighty midget, the minuscule one, referred to as the gnat, just handed me that. I've never seen it, we've never had one. There was always 2 diesel tags, but never ever ever a water tag. Now we know why. It was in the water tank. Okay, so day probably 10, 11. I lost track. Still in the yard, still doing repairs, fixing the water tank. Water tank's one of the big jobs. Turned into a monster, as you're already aware. We have the welder back in today. He's made up a new plate, new inspection cover, and he is getting ready to weld it in. And he forgot the clamps, so now he's got half an hour on the bill. He's driven back to go get the clamps. So this is what we're currently doing.
So that's the top of the water tank all welded in with a new inspection hatch. Ian has pretty much chipped most of this side, so that's almost ready for primer, which I'll do later.
We need to find some appropriate music.
Okay. What, like Mission Impossible? Okay.
Start again. Take 2. Nah.
We are about to refill the water tank because have I got a kink in the hose?
So Nat, how do you feel it's going so far?
Not brilliantly.
Did you turn it off instead of on?
Don't think so, but maybe.
That's the water tank, not the diesel tank, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Lower saloon. What time is it?
11.
It's 11:15 at night. I've just finished painting all of the lower saloon bilges. All under that floorboard I've just painted as well. I've done 3 coats today. All around the water tank. And I've just touched up this side because it was filthy. So, yeah. I don't think you can see me. I've just depainted with the thinners and now I'm going to bed. Good night. Good morning. So it's day 14. Lower saloon is all completely back together, having done the water tank. Lots of stuff has been going on. We now have the cockpit in pieces. This is where Pedro is replacing the sides on the cockpit, and then Ian is going to replace the cockpit drains, these bits, because these have all got a few holes in from where the dog fur has got stuck. So yesterday we had a bit of a day of emptying cockpit lockers. Okay, so Pedro has been here last few days, and he's dug out all of the cockpit lockers. He's put in new locker supports. He's now just put in the new drains for us, cut out the old ones. He's also fixing certain bits on the rudder, sorting out the greaser, etc. That's all down here. There's the greaser sticking out at the bottom, the little brass bit on the aft end. New supports here. So pretty much he's overhauling the entire cockpit locker system, which is lovely. Ian in the meantime has been epoxying and sanding the toe rail to level it off. I in the meantime have taken all the wood out of there. It's currently all just down there, and that's going to get a nice lick of paint. Ian has also finished off the shore power new connector plug socket on the outside. What else has been going on? We fitted a new water pump yesterday because the old one had started to lose pressure, so it kept turning off and coming on and turning off and coming on. But because Pedro is still working in the cockpit, we've still got no gas connection because our gas bottle usually sits in the cockpit. So once again we are having beautiful instant pasta pots from Knorr. Just boiling water from an electric kettle. Job done. And some lovely cake for dessert.
Yeah, go on. Go on, sit down. Stop.
Yeah.
Take it a couple of clicks further forward.
Through the wood, through the 5mm stainless, through the new toerail, and so that we can put in our new stanchion bases which are here. Yesterday we reattached all of the wood, bolted it down, sickered it down, so the tow rail is fully back on. This morning we've drilled all the holes for the stanchion bases, the big hole for the actual stanchion base, plus the two little ones either side. And now we're just bolting these down and sealing them.
And when they're finished, this is what they will look like.
The binnacle is not so stable because of this little issue we've got. Soap to the head. I was just going to wash my hands.
You can't do that there.
Oh, but I can. Look.
That's never worked since I fitted it
Look.
10 years ago.
Look. I'm just going to wash my hands.
You're so rebellious. I told you, no water in this sink.
We've lost our welder because unfortunately Pedro was doing a very good job in the cockpit, who had a very good work ethic. Somebody crashed into the back of his car night before last, so we lost him yesterday.
I think he deliberately reversed it into a wall. Okay. Its position relative to everything else is what I need. This other cable here, so as you turn the wheel, there's a gear in the top of the pedestal that moves this chain up and down. What I needed to find out is the pulleys that we're putting on these blocks. So we've got this one here, which is now in position. This was for the autopilot. The autopilot is long gone, but we needed the bracket because of the gears and stuff.